Okay, so colleagues, distinguished guests, good morning and welcome. My name is Elbestawi, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this, our first Knowledge Mobilization workshop this year, focusing on the Faculty of Humanities. We plan to hold 3 of these workshops during 2013, including, of course, the faculties of Business and Social Sciences. The objective of these workshops is to provide a forum which will allow research knowledge to flow within the academic world, but most importantly between academic researchers and the wider community. We believe that by moving research knowledge into society, knowledge mobilization increases its intellectual, social, cultural, and even economic impact. I certainly wish to thank the Faculty of Humanities, and particularly Dr. Bani Ibua, for enthusiastically participating and taking charge of this initiative. I want to thank the Elbestawi in my office for a professional job well done. This is unbelievable. And we're very grateful to the high turnout. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce a professor from the Faculty of Humanities and the President and Vice-Chancellor of McMaster University, Dr. Deane.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Yeah, it's odd to be sort of tucked in this corner, which is, I suppose, the appropriate place for an administrator to be, since that's where one feels most of the time. It's a great pleasure to be here for this first Knowledge Mobilization workshop. As almost all of you know, I have a great interest in the ways in which the academic work of the university in research and teaching intersects with the community, very broadly construed, and of course this is very much the focus of your discussions today. I've spent a lifetime wanting to be able to use the phrase "I'm old enough to recall," and today I can. I'm actually old enough to recall the first time I heard the phrase knowledge mobilization. It was a new phrase. It crept into the discourse of SSHRC. If I'm remembering this correctly, it would be somewhere around 2001, 2002 that I first heard it being used. To point to something in our work that is not covered by the word publication. Up until that point, one thought that the purpose of one's research was publication. And now came this new phrase, knowledge mobilization. And I remember spending a lot of time with colleagues talking over what it might mean and what we thought it should mean. At a Canadian Knowledge Mobilization Forum held last year, it was determined that there are at least 90 terms now used to describe how research knowledge is moved into society. So this is an indication, I hope, of how far we've come in the years since one first noticed this term in use. For our workshop today, we're using knowledge mobilization to describe the phenomenon in which you're interested, but you've heard the kinds of terms that are more current in other disciplinary groups. In the health sciences, one tends to hear about knowledge transfer, knowledge exchange. In the sciences and engineering, it's knowledge translation, or even more commonly, technology transfer. In the social sciences, one hears about knowledge implementation, all phrases which point to the way in which the work of the academy becomes active and effective in the world outside of the academy, and in that process, I think, collapses the boundary between the two. And I think, of course, there are many reasons for the proliferation of terms to describe this. I often think it's partly an indication of some of the difficulty as academics we have getting a handle on what it is we're really trying to do. So when in doubt, one invents a new term. On the other hand, I think it legitimately points to the range of activities that can be broadly understood to fall under this notion of, I suppose, really the implementation, the enactment of knowledge and research. And I think that latter issue is what's highlighted today by the scope of the research that's covered in the program today and the many and wide-ranging connections that are made between researchers and the community in the various partnerships that have formed formed around research and then begun to exert an influence for change on society. Whatever you call this phenomenon that you're all gathered here today to talk about, this is the business of putting shared knowledge to work, knowledge developed and put into effect through partnership. So whether they reach across the globe with digital music data sets, or to our local school board, to enrich a language program, to connect Canadians to their own history, or to preserve Indigenous language and culture, these are all examples of mobilization which aim to make the world a better place, to transform our society in a positive way through the fundamental and transformative influence of the humanities. The benefits of this kind of work, of course, not only intellectual, they're social, and they're cultural, and they're also economic, most significantly. It's taken decades for humanists to recognize that. So I salute you all for the important work that you do. I think this is a great event today. I'm delighted to see the turnout. Also, I want to say how much I appreciate the community partners who've taken the time to join the group and to share their experiences with everybody. I think this is a sign of the great vitality in the Faculty of Humanities, and it gives us an indication of how the influence of the work we do is going to grow and be more broadly and decisively felt across society in the years to come. So thanks very much for coming, everybody, and my best wishes to you for the day. I'm alas going to be chained to my desk, as I am many days, so I won't be here to be part of too much of it, but I wish you all the best. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Patrick. It's my pleasure to introduce a good friend, the Executive Vice President of Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, SSHRC, Dr. Ted Hewitt. Ted came to SSHRC from Western University, where he was my counterpart as their Vice President Research and International Relations. We'll be hearing more from Ted later today at lunch, when he'll tell us about SSHRC and their knowledge mobilization strategy. I would like to share one key piece of information about that. He's a McMaster alumnus who earned his PhD in sociology from our university. I hope we got this right. Ted.
Thanks, Mo, and I want to say bonjour collègue on behalf of our president, Chad Gaffield, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today. I am in great, illustrious company with our colleagues, Mo Elbestawi, my former colleague as VP Research, of course, your president, Patrick Deane, many-time SSHRC Award winner, as I recall. It's good to be home. As Mo says, I did, in fact, all three of my degrees here at McMaster, such that when I graduated, they prohibited that. You can't do that anymore. My son was convinced, I was at a university called the Downstairs John. Dream of a place like that. Actually, just amazing, amazing things that I recall from my time here at McMaster. Community engagement in the city of Hamilton has been a very long tradition in areas from arts, literature, politics, particularly over the years, and still in all, as we know, that story is not always so very widely known. So it's a great pleasure for me to participate in this event here today. I also wanted to recognize our Director of Communications, Ursula Goebel, is here. So you want to talk to her through the day in terms of the kind of things that we're promoting, and she'll be taking away many messages as the day goes forward with respect to the work that you're doing. You have a particularly exciting lineup. everything from communications, gender studies, feminist research, linguistics, history, a range of business and community partners from smartphone giants to publishers and First Nations. All partnerships of a kind that we have been promoting diligently and consistently at SSHRC over the past few years as a means to expand the bounds of knowledge generation and dissemination far beyond traditional means and audiences, and this is something I'll talk a little bit more about at lunchtime. Some of you have SSHRC funding, even better. We'll, during the course of the day, have a chance to chat if you have questions about our organization in terms of the new programming that we put in place, our new program architecture, how things are going in Ottawa, et cetera, and so forth. I'd be happy to engage you on that. So I am looking forward to a great day, as are you. I want to congratulate all of the organizers and, of course, to the university itself for once again taking the lead in promoting the value of our disciplines in social sciences and humanities. Thank you very much.